Welcome back to Kicking It. This is the part of our show where we interview a martial arts celebrity. Today we have Ezzard Charles, Mr. Ezzard Charles, who's a former boxing champion. Ezzard, this is a show where we like to have people on and kind of get their history. You know, when they started, why, and what age and stuff. So my first question to you is going to be, how old were you when you started boxing?
I was 27 years old when I got started.
All right, 27-year-old, and you never had a boxing match or anything like that?
The only boxing match I had was on the street, and I never lost, and I found out where I can go with it.
All right, well, that's what got you motivated.
That's what got me motivated.
All right, but 27 years old, that's a little late to start a boxing career as an amateur or a pro at 27, correct?
That's correct. But what I did, I stayed 5 years unknown in the gym. And after 5 years, I done sparred with the best in the world. Then when I would call, they would book a fight for me. Nobody knew nothing about me, so they would took a fight because that was a win for them, and they sent me away from home.
In other words, they treated you like you were a stepping stone.
Yes.
But you were training, and was it in Houston you were training?
It was in Houston.
And what gym?
Downtown gym, You're Bimbo.
You're Bimbo, right?
Yeah, it's Italian.
Okay.
You're Bimbo.
All right, it sounds like a great boxing gym.
Yes.
Sounds like some of the boxing gyms I've trained at.
Yeah.
But my question is, you know, it's like you're 27 years old. You said you were in a gym training for 5 years. My question, you actually started your boxing career at 32.
Right.
So that's when most people retire or think about retiring.
Right.
Or they're peaking at 32.
Right.
And you know, already won the title and they're holding it and thinking about retiring. And that's when you started.
That's when I started.
Okay. I mean, what possessed you? How did your coaches come about saying, you know, this guy's got some talent. We're gonna stand behind him. Most people that are 32, they're trying to put them out to pasture. They're trying to get rid of them, or they're squeeze a couple more fights out of them and then put them to pasture and retire them. You were just starting out. What did they see in you? What did you have?
Well, they saw in me. They saw championship material.
Okay.
Because I didn't look my age. I didn't fight my age. And no one knew my age. I never would. I stayed 16 for the last 8 years.
Okay. All right. All right. Great answer. Did you? So you never fought as an amateur ever?
Never seen an amateur fight.
Pro.
I just run 18 miles and came in and started fighting.
All right. Okay.
Turned my walking.
All right. What was your pro record?
My pro record was like 38 and 10.
38 and 10. Mm-hmm. All right. And what out of that 38 and 10 were how many of them were 10 rounders?
All of them was 10, but 6 of them. I fought 1 4-rounder, 2 6-rounder, 1 8-round, and ever since then I was main event everywhere I went.
Fantastic. That's great. In order to be a main event fighter, you've got to have talent. You've got to have speed. You've got to be able to move. You've got to be able to knock people out. You've got to be able to put on a show. And you also got to have somewhat of a following. Let's go back to that. Your name's Ezzard Charles, but your real name is?
Charles Ray Adams.
Charles Ray Adams. Mm-hmm. And you went by Ezzard Charles, or your manager thought you going by Ezzard Charles, who was one-time heavyweight champion of the world back in the 60s, fought Rocky Marciano, as a matter of fact. And by going by that name, how did that help you? How did that help you get your career going?
Well, what got my career going, I fought as Charles in the ring. I stepped in the ring as Charles. The people's named me Ezzard Charles. I didn't name myself that.
Oh,
the crowd named me that. It's the way I brought the attention to the way they said I fought like Ezzard Charles did.
Fantastic.
If I didn't knock you out, I cut you up like I had a razor blade, like a Cincinnati Cobra.
Well, yeah, well, and that's exactly the way the old Ezzard Charles, or the first Ezzard Charles, fought. I mean, when he lost his title to Rocky Marciano in the 13th round back in the 60s, he was Rocky. They were going to stop the fight because he was so cut up. Mm-hmm. And then Rocky come out in the 13th round, broke Ezzard Charles' arm, and then broke his jaw.
Right.
So you were named after him and got a namesake. So that kind of helped project your career.
Career on what?
Because people are like, hey, we got another Ezzard Charles coming here. He's in his 30s.
That's right.
All right. So that's fantastic. And your record was 38 wins, 10 losses.
10 losses.
That's fantastic. All right. Who's the greatest fighter you ever fought?
The greatest fight I ever fought and went to distance with was Frankie Randall.
Who's Frankie Randall? I don't know.
Frankie Randall is the one beat Chavez for his belt.
Wow.
That's the last one took Chavez's belt. The last fight Chavez had was with Frankie Randall from out of Florida.
Now we're talking about Cesar Chavez?
We talking about Cesar Chavez,
Cesar
the one that
Chavez,
had to be.
the Cesar Chavez.
Yes.
This man beat him, Frankie Randall.
Frankie Randall, the one
Beat
took
him
his belt.
and took his title.
Took his title.
And you fought this Frankie Randall, and how'd the fight go?
We went when I fought Frankie Randall, I won. I won the first 6 rounds. He win, I win. He win, I win. So I'm in the head of him. Then when I sidestepped him to get behind him, the lights went off and stayed off for 6 minutes. I had to
the
crawl.
Lights in the whole
building. The whole building.
Wow.
I had to lay down in the ring on my stomach and slide out of the ring backwards and stay outside the ring till the lights come back on, because I didn't want the lights to come back on and I'm knocked out.
Yeah.
I didn't want that.
So what you're saying is, did he catch you with a?
He didn't catch me with anything. We went to Dilson and they gave him the fight.
They gave him the fight.
Channel 13 News interviewed him and asked him, do you actually think you won the fight? Well, why would Channel 13 News ask him that?
Yeah. Well, because they thought that it was very close. All right. What would you have called? Which way are you?
I would say that I won the fight.
You won the fight.
Yeah, because I got out the face just like you see me on TV now.
Was it a split? Was it a split decision?
Or
unanimous?
They had it a unanimous decision.
Well, well, I'm sorry to hear that, but he was the toughest fighter you ever fought. And
he was the toughest, well known.
Well, if he
known.
beat Cesar Chavez and you fought him and fought him that close of a fight, then you got to be one of the greatest fighters that ever lived. Cesar Chavez was by far one of the greatest fighters that ever stepped in a ring.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Moving right along with our questions. That's the most well-known. That's the hardest fighter. Who's the most well-known fighter? The most famous? The one that got the most press? Who's the greatest fighter? I mean, that everybody would know.
The greatest fighter I ever fought that I think that was great to me.
No, I'm talking about the most popular.
Most popular?
Yeah, on the street, everybody knew him. Just a popular fighter.
Well, the popular fighter I'm gonna say is Ever Rosario. I don't know how they know him on the street, but at the time he was undefeated.
Undefeated.
Rosario,
I remember him. Yeah,
he was my first loss.
Your first
before I lost to Frankie Randall.
Where'd you fight him at?
I fought him in Las Vegas, Caesar Palace.
Caesar Palace. So was it a 10-rounder, 12-rounder?
It was 10-rounder.
10-rounder. And what was this for? Was this grooming you guys for a championship fight? World championship?
Him was getting him ready. Whoever out of the fight of this fight was gonna fight for the open lightweight belt of the lightweight of the world. Okay. And me and him was the elimination. Whichever was one to get the elimination, that's who get ready to fight for the belt.
All right. So the winner of this fight fought for the world title.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, great. I heard just in the gym here and talking to Randy and everybody today, that you fought Rockin' Robin.
I fought him. I fought Rockin' Robin till pink come off of him. I gave him 75 stitches all the way around his neck.
All right, okay. Rockin' Robin. I remember that song they used to play, Rockin' Robin.
Right.
That 50s song when he'd come out to fight and stuff, and he was like, everybody, to this day, people know Rockin' Robin.
Yes.
Everybody knows him.
Yes.
Everybody heard of him. They played that song, and he got a lot of press and got a lot of television. Yes. It's like every time he stepped in the ring, there were cameras there.
Right.
All the channels, all the major channels wanted to carry his fights.
That's right.
Why was it? Why Rockin' Robin?
Because Robin was a good left hand, the best in the world. Southpaw that came from the bottom and come from nowhere.
Yeah. Now Southpaw is someone who fights with their right leg forward, and they use their left as their cross. All right, and they use their right as a jab. For those of you out in the TV land.
Right.
But he was one of the most popular fighters of his time.
That's right.
He was the hardest guy to fight because he was a southpaw.
Right.
He wasn't orthodox.
No, sir.
And he was fantastic.
He was a beautiful fighter.
I want to tell us how many rounds was that fight?
Well, that fight, me and him we were fighting for 12 rounds for the lightweight belt. Texas the lightweight belt.
Right.
And so I won all 11 rounds. 12 rounds, he hit me with a left hand. I went down, but I never touched the floor, and I jumped back up. With no touching the floor, and still ready to fight, and the referee just grabbed me because they wanted him to get a chance at a lightweight title belt, world title.
All right, great. Did you only fought him once?
41.
All right, okay.
Never got a rematch with none of the fighters.
Yeah.
Nobody won no rematch.
All right, Ezzard, this is the part of the show where we ask the person we're interviewing to do their 3 favorite techniques. You're a boxer, one of the best that ever lived, And I wanna know, will you do your 3 favorite boxing techniques for us?
Sure will, Mr.
All right, thank you very much. All right, we're gonna break for commercials, and then we're gonna come back, and Mr. Charles is gonna be in the ring and show us his 3 favorite techniques.